What's up guys, Amazing ASINs here and welcome to my YouTube channel. So today I want to give a little business update of where I'm at and where my business stands. So Q1 has not gone as well as I expected, and I wanted to update you guys because it's been a while since I've posted anything about, my results and stuff like that. I've been dealing with a lot of internal stuff with the business, and this directly correlates with the one category that I was selling in Q4 and Q3, and I didn't realize how it was really affecting my business. So we're currently sitting at around 200,000 sales for the year so far. So I'm not super disappointed about that, but I know that I could do better. So the reason why is because I've been transitioning out of apparel. So apparel is a tough category because one, it's very competitive, and two, there are a lot of returns. So the competition is very high because there's a lot of beginners coming in the space from sneakers, or they maybe just know shoes because it's a pretty easy category to jump into and get started in apparel as well. So I really took a deep dive into how it was affecting my business, and I realized that these returns will hit your margins. So you get charged a return fee and a refund administration fee every single time a product is returned to you. So that's one thing to note, and this will add up the more you sell and the more products you have that are in that category. So a typical return rate for apparel is around 15% or so, and it can be higher depending on what types of products you're buying exactly. So if you're selling an apparel product at, let's say, 25% ROI, every single time it gets returned, you're getting hit with that fee. So you're pretty much breaking even at that point, or close to it, after all the returns on the products that get returned. So this will dock your margins. So let's say it's 25%, really you're probably only taking home around 15% ROI or so, maybe even less than that at the end of the day, depending how high the return rate is. So this is something to keep in mind, and make sure when you're buying apparel products to raise that ROI minimum to 35 or 40% or so. That's a typical safe ROI to account for those returns. But to me, what I'm seeing with the space and all the new sellers coming in is that it's getting increasingly difficult to be able to sell apparel and shoes profitably. So I just don't see the point for it to continue to be a huge part of my business. At one point, apparel was around 50 to 60 to 70% of my business. And that really showed me that, if you get a high return rate on a product, it can really kill the margins. So going forward, we've decided to implement newer strategies and get into different categories that have lower return rates, because returns will really affect your margins, as I've said before. So when I started, I was doing a lot of grocery, beauty, household, very boring, typical stuff. And I didn't get into apparel until around July or June of 2021. And that's when my business really started to take off revenue-wise. But in the actual apparel category, when you go into inventory labs, you can see your ROI and what you're actually taking home after all the returns and refunds. It was not as high as I thought it was. So that's when I made the decision to, at the end of Q4, just cut out apparel completely because of that. So now we are shifting more into the everyday categories again. And that's what Amazon is. It's constantly a chance for you to have to adapt and pivot, because if you don't, you're gonna be left in the smoke. So now in January and February, our spend slowed down a lot because we're getting used to sourcing the everyday categories again and not sourcing apparel. So with my team of VAs, I had to tell that strategy to them, and it took a while for it to really get going and get back in the groove so we can actually make the switch. So this was really a matter of taking one step back to go two steps forward. So over time, they really adapted, and now we're purchasing predominantly these everyday categories that have low return rates, and we're monitoring the return rates, monitoring the ASIN profitability to understand what product's making us money and what product isn't. And that's what you need to do, because if you don't, then you're not really gonna know how much you're making at the end of the day. And you're not gonna be able to understand how to increase the bottom line because you're not going after these products that are really making you the money. So now I anticipate April to have a better sales result and get us back to where we wanna be, around that 100K a month mark. And this is because our March spend has gone up. We're at 40K a month, and the month is almost half over. So we expect around $60,000 to $70,000 in spend, and hopefully that can get us to around 120K a month sales or so. That's really the goal. Half the money you spend usually turns into be revenue. So that's a big thing, and that's why my sales have been down. It's really what you spend that results in your revenue. I was spending 30 to 40K a month in January and February, and the results turn to be 80,000, 70,000 or so in sales. That's what's gonna happen when you spend that. You're gonna times it by around 2 and get the result. So that's a good, helpful tip. If you're tracking your spending, typically your revenue will be double of what you spent. And also I wanna let you guys know that I'm starting to get more into wholesale. So I have a couple accounts open at this point. I made my first purchase order of $4,000, which I'm really happy about. And that's really my goal, is to continue to dive more into wholesale, but keep the OA side going. I'm not gonna leave OA in the dust, because there's always opportunity and there's always low-hanging fruit out there for online arbitrage. I don't think anyone, even if you start to get into wholesale, you shouldn't just drop online arbitrage completely. You need that revenue source and that profitability to keep going, for you to be able to continue to grow in wholesale. So going forward, I've made a goal for myself, which is every day I'm going to find 5 new suppliers and contact them. So that is going to be huge, because with wholesale and with arbitrage, you just have to be consistent. That's the biggest thing. You have to be relentlessly consistent, and you will get to where you want to be. So I'm really excited for the next few months, and I think we're going to make a huge turnaround here after this whole, apparel issues that we've had. We're finally leaving it in the dust, and I'm really happy about that going forward. So I really hope you guys enjoyed that update. I'll definitely continue to make this type of video more frequent, because I feel like it will be very helpful for a lot of people. So if you enjoyed this video, please drop a like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you guys for watching.